A very good morning to our distinguished guests from around the region and in Singapore. A warm welcome to Day 2 of the Huawei Intelligent Finance Summit 2022. To our guests who are tuning in from Day 1, welcome back. And if you're new to the summit, a very warm welcome to you. To those who are joining physically at the Marina Bay Sands, as well as virtually online as well, a warm welcome. I'm Stephanie Bovis, and it's a true privilege to be here as your MC for this event. To kickstart this event, I'm honored to invite on stage for his opening speech, President of the Enterprise Business Group, Huawei Asia Pacific Region, Mr. Nicholas Ma. Mr. Ma, please.
Distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, good morning. Welcome to Day 2 of Huawei Intelligent Finance Summit 2022 in Singapore. As Randy, President of Huawei Enterprise Business Group, mentioned yesterday, we believe that better connectivity, intelligence, and more scenarios are key to build competitiveness in the digital era. The ultimate user experience and the business innovations are accelerating digital transformation. Asia Pacific region is playing an active role in the digital transformation of the global financial industry. Nearly 90% of the consumers in the Asia Pacific financial sector have now switched to digital services. IDC predicts that 44% of the top 250 banks in Asia Pacific will complete the digital core transformations by 2025. Asia Pacific is also the region with the largest amount of the new digital banking licenses in the world. Moving forward, business growth, operational resilience, digital innovation, and sustainability will be the focus of finance industry, which has also become the important engine of the digital economy. Huawei continue to invest in finance industry and enhance the ecosystem collaborations with global partners, which help to achieve significant growth in this vertical for past years. With the support of 150 global partners, we are serving all major financial institutions in Asia Pacific, bringing more than 30% of year-on-year revenue increase in 2021. To build the green, digital, and intelligent finance, we can move faster together only with a healthy and sustainable ecosystem collaboration. We plan to enhance the ecosystem collaboration with global partners to match the digital demands from the financial industry based on our fundamental research capabilities, innovation solutions, technology platform, and Huawei Cloud. For example, Terminus and Sunline have extended good support for core banking. Netis have put a lot of effort on AI ops, including network performance management. Tongdun has contributed on intelligent risk management based on the big data. There are a lot of other partners to work together to accelerate the digitalization of banking industry. Thank you all for the proactive support and the great effort. Of course, we are expecting more active cooperations with global and local partners in the areas of SaaS, security, and consulting services. Rapid digitalization and relentless competition have put tremendous pressures on financial service sector to transform. In order to meet these challenges, as shared yesterday, Huawei Intelligent Finance Solution Framework provides a 4-layer architecture from autonomous infrastructure, intelligence engine, digital engagement, to all scenarios services. Huawei has been continuously investing in R&D to provide cutting-edge products and solutions with timely evolution on storage, networking, data centers, digital powers, and cloud, which accelerating digitizing finance and improve the efficiency. Meanwhile, create business values for different scenarios. Ladies and gentlemen, in the past decades, we have been committed to provide innovative product, solutions, and services to customers for building the full connected, intelligent world. Together with our partners, Huawei will continue to provide scenario-based solutions that will shape the smarter, greener finance. Again, I would like to thank you all from all over the world to join us, and wish you have a fruitful day and a pleasant day. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Ma, for opening day 2 of the Huawei Intelligent Finance Summit. Ladies and gentlemen, we will now hear a keynote speech on digital innovation, create new value together, followed by a strategy release on innovative infrastructure solutions for financial service. It is now my absolute pleasure to invite on stage to present her keynote speech, President of Marketing and Solution Sales of Huawei Global Digital Finance, Dr. Margaret Hu. Dr. Hu, please.
Good morning, our respectable guests, ladies and gentlemen. Very welcome. You can come into our financial summit. It is a very special moment because it is the 10th year of the Global Financial Summit from Huawei. And I think yesterday, we already have a very good start. Many financial elites already give us many valuable inputs. Because I think you are all fruitful, thoughtful, the leaders in this area. And today's agenda, I think it cannot be missed. Because also, there are a lot of the speakers, they will share their thoughts, their practices, and solutions, especially in the IT architecture transformation, and also many the valuable and latest technologies, solutions, products. Today, my presentation topic is the digital innovation, creating new value together. Hope you can join my presentation in the next several minutes. We are looking forward to the future, to the vision of our financial industry. We are looking forward to build a fully connected, fully intelligent in all the scenarios. That is our future. I think we have to work together to do that, to achieve that target. Behind that, there are a lot of the latest technology, including the artificial intelligence, the big data, the broadband upgrade, evolution, and also, of course, the cloud computing, IoT, and so on. Later on, there are a lot of the technology will come. So how we can meet that, the trend, we are sharing one very short our ideas, what will be. Here, I want to share my experience in the digital life and also the work in the past decade. We witnessed the digitalized technology changed our life and work very deeply. In China, we have a lot of the digital app. It can gather all the information, all the app together. We can just to use the app to shop, to the text, and to all of the things. Actually, I didn't see the cash many years. Only use the code on my smartphone. At that time, I think we can just to consume anytime, anywhere in the past several years. And also, as an employee, we are flight a lot, many countries. Actually, in the past several years, I flight my air miles over about 2 million air miles, over 40 countries. I think this is a lot of the traveling, but we didn't stop working. We are always online, remote work on that, because we have a very strong WeLink app. Everything could be done on the apps. We can have booked the ticket, reserve the hotel, and also do the mail. No need to access to the laptop, only on the phone. We can use that. So that is my experience in the past years. We already have that. Because based on that, there is a very big digital platform behind that. And also, we can just use our staff ID to access to that. That's it. So, as a ICT provider, what is our thinking in the future? My team, together with me, we have some of insights and views in the mega trend in the next years for the digital finance. So I will invite you to take a look at a short video. So what will be the next generation or next 5 years? What will be the trend for the financial industry? So please, to help me to play the video. Thank you. Okay, thank you for your watch. The video shows us the trend of a global finance industry. Looking to the future, we cannot help think what kind of technology will change to enable the financial industry advanced. I think we believe that the digital infrastructure will be the engine, including the cloud-based transformation, the diversified computing power, and the data storage power, and the intelligent connectivity are the major drivers for the industry. This is the view of our global financial industry visions in the next years. So what is we will do now? We think the demand for the digital experiences, the supply from our digital infrastructure is very important. They correlated together, very important thing to driving the potentials of our financial industries. there is a very clear the route. For example, very beginning, we have the mobile banking. We have the mobile internet technology introduced. Then we have a mobile banking, digital payment we can use. And then we mentioned we have a super app. We can just get all the information, all the activities on the super app. And next, what will be the next? Currently we see the digital currency might be the next milestone. So how we can achieve that? We think at least the foundation, currently we think the digital foundation is the digital infrastructure. It's important, that is enablers. So today I will invite our president of product line in two, IT, and also invite our partners from NetEase and Tongdun together with me to share how we can support the digital transformation based on our strong digital infrastructure the evolutions. So here we're showing our digital infrastructure and the innovation trend. To embrace the unavailable changes and challenges ahead, the innovation of the digital transformation technologies will drive the digital infrastructure to evolve or even re-architect or even reshape. Besides the support for the three high efficiency, high performance, and high availability of the infrastructure, we do fund the collaborations for multi-technologies, heterogeneous coexistence, and also multi-cloud deployment are getting more and more important as well. The digital information will be multi-domain collaborative, more efficient, green, and autonomous. We call it MEG. We have to face the MEG trend of the changes and challenges, and then we have to build up a MEG infrastructures. Firstly, let's take a look about the computing powers. There are two big changes. The diversified computing powers, because a lot of digital engagement, many new computing required, for example, the artificial AI computing. And also, the other thing is the distributed the computing power deployed from the mainframe the architecture to the virtual and the cloud container. This kind of new technology, they just distribute the computing powers. So what will be the target? What would be the architecture for that? We think the hybrid multi-cloud will be the target, will be the architecture. How we can just achieve that, to support that? I think yesterday, Jason and also our colleague and many speakers already shared that for the hybrid, how we can achieve to the hybrid multi-cloud technologies. Then the second point, we think the data storage also have faced some of the challenges, and of course, there's a demand for that. Thriving in the financial services market indicates more complicated services and technology and the technical environment on the customer side. That is diversified services running on multiple technology environment, such as complexity may impose higher requirement on storage from the following aspects. Firstly, the digital transformation accelerated, the user interactions are enhanced. The data becoming more diversified, and both structured and unstructured data experience the surging growth, very large growth. Secondly, the data-driven service operation has higher requirements on real-time data analysis, including real-time precision marketing and risk decision. And thirdly, the data security is a top priority. In recent years, we find some ransomware attacks occurred many times and also influence our system a lot. And last but not least, we think the higher availability because we find a lot of the DC, the data center, we have the active, and also reliability and availability is getting more and more important. How we can achieve that, especially for the data storage, we have this request. So we are just facing these technologies request and also these challenges. Today, I will invite our president from data storage, Mr. Zhou, to give us introduction about the latest technology and the solutions. Please to invite our Mr. Zhou, please.
Hello, everyone. This is Peter. Today, I will share my insights on how Huawei data storage is helping build a data-centric, trustworthy storage foundation for finance. With financial companies going digital, we are experiencing an explosion of data. Data is now fundamental to innovating fields such as digital customer acquisition and risk control. This presentation, the following 4 changes to storage. The first, new data applications are continuously generated, from traditional database applications to distributed database, big data, and AI applications. Next, data is getting hotter and hotter. Take mobile banking as an example. Much faster real-time data analysis and processing are needed. What's more, we must take data protection seriously. In 2021, one large financial company paid hackers $40 million after a ransomware attack. Furthermore, green and energy efficiency are very important, particularly for data storage. Over the past few years, nearly 40 of the world's top 100 banks have chosen Huawei's OceanStor Dorado all-flash storage to go digital. Today, we have a complete portfolio include OceanStor Dorado all-flash storage, OceanStor Pacific distributed storage, Ocean Protect backup storage, and Fusion Cube hyper-converged infrastructure to help our customers for their digital transformation. I will explain 6 key financial scenarios, such as financial transaction, data analysis, in the following slides, and discuss how our storage products are essential. In the digital era, omni-channel transaction systems create a massive number of data in high frequency. Services such as trade settlement and data exchange require faster and more reliable storage systems. OceanStor Dorado enhances the NAS capabilities in addition to providing industry-leading SAN features. Both NAS and SAN are built on the FlashLink algorithms and smart metrics architecture. FlashLink algorithms and end-to-end NVMe deliver a latency of just very low milliseconds, and the smart metrics architecture enables high tolerance to hardware failure and just 3 seconds service interruption every year. In a lot of projects, OceanStor Dorado can make core banking services be accelerated by 3 times, and the processing of massive small files during data exchange doubles. Here is a video to show you more about OceanStor Dorado. Business intelligence, precisely marketing, and real-time monitoring are typical big data scenarios in finance. They require accurate and real-time analysis. Huawei OceanStor Pacific Storage innovatively supports both lake and warehouse data formats. This means data can be queried immediately after being imported into a lake. And thanks to the decoupled storage compute architecture, computing and storage resources can be expanded independently on demand. For example, with Huawei OceanStor Pacific deployed in a bank in China, its operational dashboard's report efficiency is improved from several hours to just 2 minutes, enabling efficiency and informed decisions. Here is a video for OceanStor Pacific. You can get more information. let me talk about data protection. In terms of disaster recovery, Huawei provides 3DEC data recovery solution. To make this solution even safer, Huawei Storage provides the industry-only integrated SAN and NAS active-to-active solution. We also cooperated with Huawei Optical product line to launch SOCC solution to make sure the transaction is reliable. In terms of core service data backup, Ocean Protect Backup Storage provides up to 155 TB per hour backup and 172 TB per hour recovery bandwidth, and a 72:1 data reduction ratio. These are industry-leading indicators. To protect against ransomware, Huawei has developed a ransom protection storage solution that combines primary storage and backup storage. We use machine learning models to detect ransomware with a detection rate of 99%. Next is about data center O&M. We use DME, data management engine, to enable automatic management throughout the life cycle of data. On average, the DME increases resource efficiency by more than 20% and shortens service TTM by 10 times, giving personnel more time and resources to focus on what matters most. DME provides unified management GUIs and standard APIs to centrally manage Huawei and third-party storage devices. Its open APIs, scripts, and plugins allow the DME to connect with mainstream cloud management platforms and IT management platforms. Here is another video about DME. Global financial companies are embracing multi-cloud architecture, and many of them have chosen VMware Cloud Platform. This makes OceanStor Dorado a smart choice to build a storage foundation for VMware Cloud Platform. First, OceanStor Dorado can be highly automated integration with the VMware Cloud Platform. It implements end-to-end automatic resource provisioning and achieves end-to-end centralized O&M by integrating vCenter and VROPS. More important, OceanStor Dorado delivers proven reliability and performance with smart metrics, Hypermetro, and FlashLink to help enterprise smoothly evolve to the cloud. Today, container technology is popular in the financial industry. It supports larger scale and elastic expansion of internet applications. Previously, stateless containers were widely used. Now, more and more companies turn to stateful containers, and they require persistent storage for data. In the past, we adopted the integrated server architecture with coupled applications and local disks. However, there are some challenges to process mass small files, expand the storage resource on demand, and share data across nodes. OceanStor Dorado NAS decouples containerized applications from storage, allowing multiple container nodes to simultaneously read and write the same file system, while also supporting fast expansion of container nodes. Additionally, it supports on-demand expansion of computer and storage resources, make resource utilization more efficient. To build green storage, Huawei enables low-carbon industry development and helps build a low-carbon society. Speaking of manufacturing, we adhere to the green production concept. Our manufacturing plants widely use PV power systems and renewable materials. In addition, we don't use wave soldering and paper labels in manufacturing, greatly reduce energy consumption. Our belief in green product greatly reduce the carbon emission of storage products by increasing hardware density, compression, and reducing data, and improving resource utilization. Many financial companies have progressed in carbon emission by deploying advanced green storage products from Huawei. We are in era of data explosion. Together with our partners, we will provide high-quality storage products and solutions for customers to facilitate their financial digital transformation. Thank you.
Thanks for Mr. Zhou's introduction about our data storage, latest technology, and also solutions. I think the data storage is also mag storage. They have a one pool to compatible multiple environment configurations and deployment, no matter it's the cloud, no matter it's VMware, no matter it's some other compatibilities. This is the first one. The second, they have all flash the product portfolios from the data protection and also the Pacific and also Donados, and they can provide a higher density and lower the energies. Also, the guaranteed protection you already see, they already have the ransomware, the solutions can support that from the detections and also the isolation recovery for that. A high availability, the SAN and the NAS unified solutions without the gateway can also to help our customer to achieve the higher availability solution. That is the very brief introduction about that. And also thanks for the Mr. Zhou and all his R&D team, strong team to devoted on that areas. And also, if you want to know more, we have the booth outside. If you, after this presentation, you can take more information on our booth. They have more details to introduce for that. So, the next, I will talk about the connectivity. That is also one of the three engines in our digital infrastructure. We call it intelligent connectivity. Also, from connectivity, we are also facing a lot of challenges because we see there is a cloud later on. There's a multi-vendor deployed. There are a branch we need to reduce our operational cost. There are a lot of the intelligent operation demand for the operation maintenance team. And also, we find there is a complicated environment also we have to hand in. So we also demand for the intelligent connectivity to have a multi-interconnection, multi-DC, the cloud and the network coordination, and also the efficient way to achieve a green solution and also achieve a better connectivities. And third one, we also think the green is also the target. The infrastructure have to do that, to achieve that, to contribute for that, and autonomous. I think you know Huawei already released our autonomous driving network. This year, we also upgrade for L 3.5. Last year, we already have a very dramatic outperforms. It is the L3. They have help the customer have a better intelligent operation efficiency. And this year, we can just release the L 3.5, this level. They can help to do in heterogeneous networks. So more details, I also want to invite our president of the Datacom product line, Kevin Hu, to give us introduction of the latest technologies, more details. Please to help to play the videos. Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, I'm Kevin Hu from Huawei Data Communication product line. So today, it's my pleasure to introduce our latest Datacom solutions and products, so tailored for the financial industry. With the development of fintech, so more and more users prefer online financial service. So banks deploy service onto private clouds, so all public clouds. So the users can access them anytime, anywhere. In the ICT architecture, the networks are the foundation for digital finance, providing the role of connectivity. So how can we quickly invoke across data centers resource and improve operation and maintenance efficiency. To answer this, we found the financial connectivity takes on two features, so stable and agile. Simply put, financial connectivity must be stable. This means it must be secure and reliable, and ensure always-on financial service. Financial connectivity must be also agile. This ensure real-time financial service, faster service deployment, and agile innovation. So to meet these expectations, we have upgraded our financial cloud network in three aspects. The first is building cloud. We have extended ADN capabilities to multi-data centers. So in this way, the cross-data center service provisioning time is shortened from months to minutes. To simplify operation and maintenance, so we have launched the AI Ops to integrate OM for application and networks, ensuring fast demarcation of problems in minutes. The second is connecting clouds. We have launched the industry-first multi-point stateless traffic compression for the entire network. So this solution can compress one traffic by over 37%. In addition, our intelligent optimization solution helps expand the capacity without adding private LANs. So this helps to reduce private LAN cost. The third is going to clouds. We have released the SD-WAN solution that supports ZDP. So this enables fast remote deployment within 10 minutes and super fast cloud access for branches. For branch office, we have fully wireless campus network solution ensure zero service interruption during roaming. Today's financial industry is building private clouds and hybrid clouds for data centers. So a large Latin American bank plans to migrate 60% of its service to the public cloud by 2023. However, in the first year, the bank completed only 40 work orders per day. Clearly, it was impossible for the bank to achieve the expected goal. Facing this challenge, the bank chose Huawei Level 3.5 autonomous-driven network solution. This solution provides runbook designer, multi-data center, and AOC capabilities. Also support third-party device management and public cloud interconnection. It also automatically connects multi-data centers and public clouds. With this solution, the average service migration duration is shortened from days to minutes, and the configuration is error-free. In this way, the bank was able to achieve the expected goal ahead of schedule. In terms of OM, so our solution enables integrated OM of applications and networks. IMOST-NC provide open APIs to collaborate with this platform. It's easy to analyze indicators such as transaction success rate and a delay in real time to implement end-to-end service OM. This solution has been deployed in a commercial bank, helping the bank to shorten the fault locating time from 2 hours to 5 minutes and improve OM efficiency by 20 times. Huawei is a strong advocate of low carbon, so that's why our cloud engine switches adapt advanced heat dissipation technologies, so energy efficient transmission models and high density port models, so with power consumption per bit 54% lower than the industry average. For a data center with 320 servers, our solution saves 8,220 kWh per year. As one traffic surges, at a large bank, for instance, private LAN costs are more than 2 the investment on network device. To reduce such costs, the bank conducted joint innovation with Huawei. It deployed a built-in traffic compression card on WAN devices to achieve a traffic compression ratio to 1.6 to 1. To simplify cloud access for branches, so Huawei had launched SD-WAN solution to support plug and play. So in this way, the network can be provisioned remotely within 10 minutes. So a hyper-converged gateway that integrates routing, switching, and firewall function in adapt. So access policies can be deployed, multi-links can be selected, and IPsec can be configured to support encrypted traffic. So in addition, our iMaster NC fabric implements remote management, which eliminate on-site OM and reduce complaints. In branch office scenario, we have released the full wireless campus network solution. So the key technology for this scenario is Wi-Fi 6. So Huawei Wi-Fi 6 enabled 20% greater Wi-Fi 6 signal coverage distance than the industry average. It also ensures always-on signal for users and lossless roaming. So this helps to improve service experience on branch network scenario. As we know, each need for in-connectivity technologies brings new change to the world and creates new value for society. So we will keep improving our financial cloud network solution capabilities to accelerate digital transformation towards smarter and greener finance.
Okay, thanks for the time from the Kevin Hu. I think we have a so strong R&D team to support. We can provide a better and competitive product solutions also from the datacom areas. We also think the intelligent network and also the intelligent connectivity will have the 4 characteristics. Also, we call it the MEG. The first is in the heterogeneous, the multi-interconnection in heterogeneous network, and also in the cloud and also network connections. Of course, also for the SD-WAN, SD-WAN will be a very avoidable the changes and also the change. Many customers already deployed for that, for faster rollout their lines, and also to reduce the configuration, the complexity, adjustment. And also, furthermore, we have the full mesh SD-WAN. They can further to increase the utilization of the bandwidth with the Ethernet interconnections. Last but not least, we think the autonomous driving network will be one by step gradually to increase their automation levels. And Huawei devoted to do that, no matter it's in our own network and also in heterogeneous networks. Okay, besides that, we call it the mega digital infrastructure. We think we will devote to do that to have a better, smarter, greener, and also partner together with our partners to have a multi-domain collaborations from a business application together with Huawei's infrastructure. We can do better to reshaping the IT infrastructure to drive the digital transformations. Here we're just showing one slide to show how very difficult things, the full link failure management for the transactions. We think along the transaction links, there's a lot of the failures will happen. There is some of the key factors will influence that. There is the component failure, the equipment failure, and also link failure. Of course, there is also very strange things, very difficult to see. That is the system slowdown. It's not a failure, but will degrade our performance. So how to monitor that, detect that, and find a way to recover that? That is the thing to shorten the transaction, the failure times. So our team and also partners work together to give a better intelligent operations solutions. There is one thing I want to give you an introduction. We call it SOC. What is SOC? That means storage, optical connection will be coordinated. Traditional one, that is a storage, only detect the feedback response from the links. Only more than 2 minutes, they can get the failures from the links. So how we can enhance that to optimize that? There is an innovative solution from our 2 teams together to collaborate it. So I will introduce you today. This is the SOC equipment. There is one card. You can just record the SOC communication card. That is either Ethernet. Thank you. Very easy. There's a card. in a optical equipment from the DWDM. And the other end, there is a storage card, also very easy. They only need one extension port. They connect with the optical and have the Ethernet protocol communication. They can very quickly to detect the things because the SOC communication protocols can help you to reduce the detected timeline. Here is just the links. There's one port, the other port, they connect together. That's it. And also upgrade the software. Very easy. And then there is our test result in China and also some of the customers in Singapore. We already have the test result. You see the transaction per second. It's quick. It's reduced a lot. And response latency also reduced. The CPU load of the storage is also just to increase. That is increased because we have so many the data can transfer. And the disk I/O input/output also stable. So that is the result. Sorry, the result is the abnormal duration can reduce from the 2 minutes to 2 seconds. That is the innovative solution we are released today. And this solution will be available at the end of this year. There's also a the detailed introduction on our booth. You can take a look for that. Thank you. Can you help you to leave it? So that is one of our innovative solutions I want to share with you today. So next slide, I want to show the green. How the green ICT can support our green development. We do think the digitalization and also the low carbonization, they are two key factors to influence, to impact our green development. We call it there are 3E efficiency. I think the bits and all the data volume cannot available because so many the data will generated. But our target is to have more bits, less watt. And also, second one, how to achieve green energy. We need the bit manage the watt. We need the smart, intelligent management, how we can achieve green the energies. The third one we think is enablement. Enablement means no matter we have a footprint of carbons, but we have to enable more the links, more the sectors. We can just reduce the carbon. That is the effect. We're using ICT technology to reduce the carbon emissions. So that is the target using our green ICT solutions, how we can reduce the carbon emissions. So here, I just show you a very details, the green solutions here from IP, IT, and also energies. Of course, you see the storage also the target is to provide a higher density of our product and reduce the footprint, reduce the storage. With our all-flash, the storage technologies, they can greatly reduce the consumption, power consumption as well. And also for the datacom, the IP technology, IP networks, we have the hardware, software algorithm, and also the operation just mentioned, we have the ADN networks, which can help to reduce the power consumption as well. For example, the hardware, we call it the fundamental theory innovations. No matter it's in a fan, and also in some of the heat emission algorithms, we also have these innovations. And also from software algorithms, we have the I-loss algorithm to reduce the consumptions, power consumptions. And ADN, of course, intelligent. They can just intelligently to allocate the resources. So in this way, from hardware, software, and also the operation, the 3 levels, we can reduce the complexity and also reduce the power consumption. Of course, most important thing, one of the important things is cannot avoid is the power usage efficiency. From the green energy, green construction, and green operation point of view, we have to do that. Huawei provide our datacom, the energy solutions. From the smartly the backup and the power supply, the green to green. And also we have a modular designed data DC. They can also just to quick launch the data center very quick and to reduce the power consumption. And also in our Huawei also an enterprise. We have so many data center as well. And also we are using the new technology and the solutions to help our DC, very big DC, to reduce the power consumption. In the Huawei enterprise, our companies, the DC, in different areas, our PUE, the DC PUE reduced to 1.15. I think this figure is everybody thinks it's unachievable, but actually we do that. I will show you in one short video to show how they can do that. We introduce a lot of the technology to do that. So I just introduced for that. Sorry, can you please the video, please? Okay, I think it's not only to reduce our own carbon emission, but also we are proactively to enable green transformation in various industries. In April this year, Huawei released the Green Development 2030 report, which elaborates on how to align the digital transformations with low carbon development to promote green development. The report focused on the 3 innovation directions of ICT enabled green development, including just mentioned the green efficiency of digital infrastructure, increasing the proportion of the renewable energy, and enabling the green industry development. That's it. You can just download that pictures, and everybody, I think you can get the latest information about our insight and our our contribution. Will do that in the next years. So I think the third part I want to share how we can work together with the partners. I think the financial industry is very complicated structures. We need to work together with our partners. We have to do in multi-domain collaboration to do that. One thing today, we invite our partner, Netis, will together with us to introduce the AIOps, the solutions. Because we think it's very difficult, very complicated to troubleshooting along the links from business level, service level, network level, and of course have the equipment device. This is a very important thing. How we can just have intelligent tools, intelligent solutions to do that. I think maybe in every IT teams, you have these troubles. Very difficult to define a boundary and responsibility. If there is a failure, what is the problem from that? One is from the service team, or it's from the IT team, or it's from the data center team. Who can help you to identify that? The second, I think what is the root cause? Because so long nodes, so long the things along these links. So where is it? How to have the root cause? And third one, can you just to have the back check about that, about the troubles, about the problems? How you can improve that? Because some of the customer told me they have so many the teams they can work together, and especially also for the O&M team, they can every day they can get a lot of the requests for that because the fillers cannot be available. So how to efficiently to troubleshooting? So we introduced NetEase with Huawei to balance, to leverage both teams the advantages. Huawei can very deeply to have the intelligent operation on the equipment level, network level, and the NetEase also can combine the business level and also the network level together with that. So end to end, they can just have a clear the troubleshooting the solutions. So here it shows our just mention. From business level, we can have introduce NetEase. You can have the business performance center, have the packet decode, transaction collaboration, transaction tracing, monitor view. What is that? The figures here. And also network performance management, they have the deployed browser and the platform, probe, monitoring, so you can get the service path view, the traffic analysis, network quality, correction, and path loss, and also the transaction, the views. And of course, with Huawei, the NCE, iMaster Network Cloud Engine, we can have all the connection views. And also for multi-vendor runbook, the pictures also can get it. And also intend to the verification some of the details. So this end-to-end solution, we can work together with our partner to serving for these areas. So the second part, today we also invite our partner, straight partner, the Tongdun, the trust decision. They will give us introduction about how to the intelligent risk decision. Based on Huawei, the cloud, we have many the data lake and also the DGC, the He2, and also graph engine, lake house, this functionality and the solutions. Together with the Tongdun's, the decision engine, we can work together to have a decision-making efficiency, improve decision efficiencies. Because there is a lot of the algorithm, a lot of the models we have to link, then to reduce the fraud cases. Later, I think we will invite Tongdun, the speakers, Mr. Ma, to give us more detailed introduction. So I think it's not only just the two cases we just introduced. I think in the next step, we are strongly closely to work together with our partner. We hope it's not only for the sales, for the end to the end. We need from front. We need from beginning. We can work together to have the market requirement, have the customer requirement put together, and then develop the joint solutions together, and then to co-marketing to provide more valuable information to our customers. They know we have these solutions, and then co-sell together to leverage the two teams, two partners, the two parties, our advantages together. That is our target, and later on, win-win, we have the multi-domain collaborations. So that is my summary, my end for today's presentation. We think when we facing the mega trend of the challenges from digital and intelligent finance industry in the next years, we will provide the mega digital infrastructure, which is featured with the mega domain, collaborative, efficient, green, and autonomous digital infrastructures. So thank you for your support, and we will work together to shape in the smarter, greener finance together. Thank you for your time.
Thank you, Dr. Hu, for that engaging keynote. It is now my pleasure to invite our next speaker, who will share with us on social responsibility of financial institutions, ESG, and practice in green finance. Please welcome to the stage Chief Sustainability Officer of UOB, Mr. Eric Lim. Mr. Lim, please.
Morning, everyone. Huawei, thank you very much for having me here to talk about sustainability within financial services as well as within UOB. I've got about 15 minutes with you this morning, and what I like to do is kind of contextualize the sustainability conversation and allow each of us here to be able to understand our role within this larger conversation of sustainability. Okay? I love to start with this chart. This chart means many different things to many different people. And for those of you who are unfamiliar with it, let me quickly introduce how to read this chart. This chart shows the amount of greenhouse gas emissions that over time we have accumulated, right? So from 1925 to call it 2022, on an annual basis today, we emit about 50 gigatons of greenhouse gas into the atmosphere. Okay? There are a couple of really interesting things when you look at this chart that start to strike you. The first thing is, if you look at that peak of where we are today, this is the environmental footprint of the modern economy. And we have steadily, over the last 100 years, perfected our modern economy based on fossil fuels, based on oil and gas, on a set of technologies that has this particular environmental footprint. The second thing that strikes you is when we talk about this moving towards net zero conversation, that drop in that line is very, very steep, right? We hear the term net zero by 2050, and you can see that that steep drop, right, is much shorter in time. So the first thing we begin to understand is in order to be able to hit that net zero by 2050 pathway, we have to undo, reinvent, and transform the last 100 years worth of the modern economy and reinvent it towards a zero carbon future. So first, massive amount of work. Second, massive opportunities, because a lot of the business models and technologies that are required to deliver this are either still in development or have not yet even been invented. That's the first point I want to make here. The second point that I think is very interesting for us to understand is this is the chart, this is the pathway that all countries across the world have aligned to, right? And so when we talk about the Paris Agreement and this march towards net zero, there are very few countries of note, of importance, that are not aligned to this global pathway, right? What that means is at a national level, each country is going to be developing their own national development plans by the sectors of the economy, right? Different set of regulations, economic frameworks in order to be able to deliver to that. And for those of us who are in business and for those of us who are in banking particularly, we finance the main economy, right? So again, we understand that there are going to be a lot of changes in the economy that we run or we bank, and we need to be able to identify the winners versus the losers. Okay? The last thing I'm going to tell you is if you don't care about this chart because you don't think you're an environmental scientist or it's just not something that matters to you, unfortunately, these set of stakeholders care, right? So put aside your personal beliefs because these set of stakeholders will run massive influence into how we run our business, right? The first one is government as well as regulators. And this one we can see. Take just Singapore, for example. As recent as 12 to 18 months ago, Singapore was talking potentially about achieving net zero in the second half of the century. By the early part of this year, Singapore had revised its stance to say net zero by mid-century. And number two, announced that they were going to raise carbon taxes from $50 to $80 by 2030. And number three said that there was going to be $35 billion worth of green bonds that the government would start to issue in order to finance the national move towards net zero and decarbonization. So in a very short amount of time, you can tell national governments and regulators are moving the frameworks, moving the benchmarks to help industry go in the direction they need to. A second key stakeholder that we respond to very carefully are asset managers, institutional investors, particularly the ones in the developed world, right? We know capital is a global game, right? There is capital all across the world, and our job is to be able to help move capital across that world. Asset managers are increasingly taking on net zero commitments. Large institutional investors are getting more and more demanding in terms of what they expect from their companies, their investee companies, as well as the banking sector, right? So asset managers are hardening their stance as well. Now, this matters because at the end of the day, asset managers will decide who they hold versus who they sell. They will also decide how they will respond in terms of AGMs using their voice as an investor. And of course, as we're building towards a sustainable, progressive future, we want our companies to be the winning ones that asset managers want to invest in, right? The last bit is customers themselves, our customers. We bank the main economy. Each of our customers, depending on the industry they're in, depending on the level of demand that they're being put under, are also responding by asking for technological solutions as well as financing solutions for them to demonstrate their own sustainability agenda. Right? So now us at UOB, we have a very simple value proposition. We are a Singapore domiciled bank with a large Asian footprint. This is our home, this is our backyard. We bank the main economy, essentially the whole economy. And so we think that our geographical footprint, the strength of our balance sheet, and the strength of our customer relationships makes a bank like UOB perfect for supporting our economies and customers towards a sustainable future. That is our core value banking proposition for sustainability. So when we think about our strategy, we essentially have 4 pillars. The first one, as you can see, is to drive growth sustainably. And what this means is a lot of product build together with our clients into the main economy. I'll show you in a couple of pages how that manifests in UOB's financing strategy. Okay? The second bit is keeping our customers at the core. One of the things we realize also is there are 2 big megatrends going on in the world today. One is the digital megatrend. It is going to infuse every part of how we live our lives. Second, the sustainability megatrend. And that also, over time, is going to infuse every part of our lives. And the combination of the 2 is critically important because there are component parts of digital that can support sustainability, right? And as we move towards our net zero world by 2050, there is a modern economy that is heavily digital that needs to be built in a sustainable way, very much to what Dr. Margaret Hu was talking about. Okay? The third one is investing in our own people. Very much so, sometimes sustainability becomes a conversation only about the environment. But remember, when we talk about sustainability, it's about delivering sustainable outcomes for our community and our economies at large and holistically. So, taking care of our people, training them up is also very important. And lastly, upholding corporate responsibility. I think everybody understands this, right? So in UOB, while we do focus on the environment as a very critical and important lever in supporting our clients, it is also very important for us, and I think for us here collectively, to understand the 17 UN SDGs view of the world. The 17 UN SDGs stand for the Sustainable Development Goals. And this is where very commonly we use the term environmental, social, and governance. And it's important that as we build our business models, that we're constantly paying attention to how we can either positively contribute to all 17 UN SDGs, or at least, as a bare minimum, do no harm across all of these 17, right? Now, this is where I want to switch gears into talking specifically about sustainable finance frameworks that we use in UOB. And as I describe this, you'll begin to see your industry, your teams, your company somewhere within one of these key frameworks, right? We have 4 flagship sustainable finance frameworks that we bring to market. The first one is around green real estate, right? Green real estate is one of the most established sustainability or green asset classes out there. Why? Because number one, everybody needs property. Number two, the standards for energy efficiency, green buildings are generally quite well understood and regulated. And it makes it therefore very easy for financiers like UOB to step forward and offer green financing to property developers or asset owners with energy efficient buildings, right? The second one is around smart cities. When we think about smart city, the value proposition is the entire built environment that supports a city, all the way from how we do energy generation, all the way to how we transport our people, all the way to ensuring that our buildings are as energy efficient as possible, water and waste treatment, all of these are sustainable, right? So very quickly you begin to see within real estate as well as smart city, there is a lot of application for technology, digital technology, together with sustainability. Because a lot of it is about powering our modern cities from a digital perspective and an energy efficient way, monitoring and being able to therefore make progress that way. Right. We have 2 more. One is called the Circular Economy Sustainable Finance Framework. This is largely around making sure we are able to reuse, reduce, and recycle all the raw materials that we bring out of the ground and making sure as little of it as possible ends up in landfill. Then finally, we have the Green and Sustainable Trade Finance Framework. This is very important for the world because we have a global world where things are manufactured or grown in one part of the world and shipped to consumers in another part of the world, right? And if we take a look at some of the global trends around carbon border taxes, it is very important that we, within developing Asia, are able to grow and manufacture our goods and produce and be able to have them certified to standards that pass in the developing world as sustainable. So again, from a trade finance perspective, we offer some of that, right? What I like to do now is briefly show you how our CEO talks about sustainability on a quarterly basis. So what I've done is take a page out from CEO's first quarter financial announcement. CEO talks about various things. He talks about macroeconomics, he talks about bank's results, and then he focuses on a couple of key areas which we consider strategic that we're making progress on. And this is what we demonstrate to the market. Number one, in terms of creating positive impact, the amount of sustainable financing we are able to extend to the main economy. Today, there is this concept of conventional financing and sustainable financing. Sustainable financing is where your underlying assets are green or sustainable in nature. It's considered better, in a sense, than conventional financing. It is my deep belief that in time to come, there will only be sustainable and green financing as conventional. And if you are not within that, you will be non-sustainable or non-green financing. So the first thing I'd like to tell you as a banker is let's make sure our business models all fall within that category, right? The second thing you can see on the right-hand side, we talk about avoiding more than 236,000 tons of CO2 equivalent. This is not a commonly reported metric. Most banks like to report only financial figures, but we like to report from our financing activities how much greenhouse gas emissions we help our customers to avoid. This is the concept of finance emissions. Remember, in the game of sustainability, impact is most important, right? Now, down below, governance and disclosures, this is also very important because in our community and economy, we're going to have all of these disclosures continue to be demanded more and more of. And one of the big things every company and every bank will increasingly be pushed to do is to describe our decarbonization pathways. So in UOB, we are working on our decarbonization and net zero sectoral pathways, and we plan to announce these by the end of the year. And finally, on the bottom right, this is another area where digital and sustainability will collide, is the ability to grab all the data that's required. Greenhouse gas emissions data, right? You know, scope 1, 2, 3, it gets a bit jargonish, but all of this data that's out there is fragmented, is of low quality, and digital and sustainability need to be able to work together to create a data environment where this information is captured at source, verified as accurate, made available as easily as possible so that everyone can benefit from the benefit of that data. So I know it was a lot to throw at you, but I just wanted to take a moment to share with you how financial services thinks about and responds to sustainability and the role of digital as well as sustainability together. Thank you very much for your attention.
Thank you, Mr. Lim, for that elaborative presentation. Up next, we have a speaker who will be sharing his insights on building simplified infrastructure, helping banks achieve rapid digital transformation. Please join me to welcome Chief Technology Officer of BDO, Mr. Paul C. Mr. C, please.
Good morning. Thank you, everyone. Day 2, I hope everyone's doing well. First of all, I'd like to thank Huawei and our account team for inviting me to share in today's plenary session. In addition, big shout out to all the people from the Philippines. Thank you for being here. So, good morning, everyone. I hope today I will share with you what we are doing with regards to building simplified and agile infrastructure in BDO. Let me give a quick introduction about BDO, right? BDO is the largest bank in the Philippines. We are a full-service universal bank. We are probably the biggest in terms of branch networks and ATM. There is actually a joke that, you know, our branch network is so prevalent that we're almost like a Starbucks, where there's one in every corner. We have $9 billion in capitalization, and we had been receiving awards for the past few years, probably, you know, the best bank in the Philippines, best bank of the year. So we're really proud of that. Today, I will share with you, as part of the transformation journey, how did we do Agile? How did we simplify the infrastructure that we built? So, why simplify, right? So, simplification actually is a very common term that we use. There's a lot of reasons why we simplify our infrastructure. Normally, the simplification process really requires an investment, right? It requires an upgrade of existing technologies. More often than not, you'll find out that when you upgrade, when you want to simplify, upgrading is the investment that you need to do. What happens when you do that? You end up with a more stable, more resilient, easier to manage infrastructure. And when you do, and when you invest, I think one of the key things that the previous speaker was talking about is you get better returns on your investment, especially with regards to being greener in your infrastructure. What we tend to find is the older infrastructure tends to be, it eats up more electricity. It's not as green as it should be. And in addition to that, newer infrastructure actually provides more enhanced capabilities. Today, I'm going to share with you on 3 key factors of what we did with regards to being agile and being simplified. So networks, compute, and storage. We're going to break it down very similar to how that was done in in the previous presentation. So how did we simplify networks? First of all, we moved from a purely MPLS in the branch to more of a software-defined wide area network. Why did we do this? It's really more about a driver. What was the driver? The driver was more and more, a lot of our applications are actually sitting on the cloud. We're also using a lot more collaborative tools, things like Teams, Zoom. Those need a direct access to the internet. And you can only do that if you were to use the SD-WAN technology. More and more, we're seeing that a lot of our applications tend to be located on the cloud or on software as a service. The other thing that we did with regards to simplifying the network is moving to DWDM. This provided a second layer of capability within our data centers, right? Our data centers are now able to do storage replication, active-active data centers, and we can only do this if you have a fast enough connectivity and network between your data centers. I think the key there is the ability to replicate your storage, and this gives you the ability to really provide continuous services to your clients without fail. The other thing that we did was simplify our compute platform. First of all, we moved from the normal bare metal to a virtualized environment. It's funny that we only undertook this journey about 3 years ago. We went from fully bare metal to moving a lot of our workloads to virtualized. I'm sure that this is not new to a lot of people, but the speed at which we adopted and the speed at which we wanted to move, I think exemplifies the amount of effort that we took to do this. What does virtualization provide to you? It gives you easy expansion. It gives you the ability to scale both vertically and horizontally. And it allows you to really take advantage of the new technologies that is on offer out there. In addition to that, you have the hybrid capabilities. You can now move workloads, not only from your virtualized environment, but also to the cloud. The other thing that we did was move a lot of our workloads from on-premise to the cloud. We have a lot of cloud providers that we're working with right now, Huawei being one of them. And over the last 3 years, we have moved a lot of our workloads. In fact, 40% of our workloads are now on the cloud or on SaaS, because we wanted to make sure that we have a more resilient, more vibrant infrastructure that will allow us to really adopt and very quickly move in terms of what we want to provide to our clients and our customers. So we're further leveraging our SaaS capabilities. In fact, our CEO has this mantra of SaaS first, cloud next, and on-prem last. Because I think, as we all know, and on the other day, I was on the advisory board, it seems like every bank out there, the roadmap and the strategy is very similar. We all want to move to the cloud. We all want to move to SaaS. And more often than not, I think we're all in this journey together. We're also simplifying our storage. And with Huawei's help, in fact, a lot of the storage simplification that we're doing is working closely with Huawei. We did storage consolidation previously when we were still using a lot of bare metal servers. A lot of our servers had islands of storage all over. One of the first things that we did was consolidate a lot of these islands of storage into a SAN storage. Very quickly, we were able to get efficiencies of scale, especially with what we're doing and what we wanted to do. In fact, if you wanted to virtualize, the first thing that you should be doing is really virtualizing your storage. The second thing that we did was provide storage replication. As Margaret, who was saying before, one of the key things that Huawei provides is the ability to not only replicate your storage, but be able to signal to your network on what's happening with your storage as you replicate between your data centers. That's why having the Huawei ecosystem really helps in terms of the bringing synergies within our infrastructure. It provides real-time capabilities. I think more and more, we can't really rely on just a single data center or a single place where our infrastructure resides. It needs to be really multi-point, multi-dimension. One of the things that we all want to have is really no loss in capabilities. We want to have full uptime, especially as more and more of our clients demand that, right? As we move into a more digital world, our clients really depend on that. And it's funny that I think even as technology moves forward, there's still a lot of, I guess, intricacies out there. Just this morning, I received a message saying Microsoft Teams was having a global issue. I don't know if some of you were having that, but it seems like they were having a global issue. So just goes to show you, even Microsoft is having some issues with their infrastructure. And lastly, what we're doing now is moving to backup as a service. We used to spend quite a significant amount of money on tape, especially for backup. But more and more, we're realizing that tape doesn't really cut it, right? In terms of restoration, in terms of the way that legacy system ages very quickly, you don't really have that capability to really go back and restore your systems very quickly if ever there's an issue. So with regards to that, we are now moving a lot of our backups over to real storage. And with that ability, we should be able to then move any or all of our archiving over to the cloud, because that's the whole point. If you were on tape, you wouldn't be able to do that. So with that, I'd like to, I guess, leave everyone with a very simple thought. Simplicity brings about efficiency. And with efficiency, I think we're looking forward to a greener world. So good luck on your simplification journey, and thank you.
Thank you so much, Mr. C, for your insights. Our next speaker will be sharing about the evolution of decision science and application in risk prevention. Please join me to welcome partner and co-founder of Tong Dun, Mr. Jackal Ma. Mr. Ma, please.
Hello, everyone. Well, it's a pleasure, for me to be here. And today is a very important day for us as well. A lot of people know us by our name, Tong Dun, but today is actually the day that we announce the new branding, a brand that we create specifically for decision science and applications. It's called Trust Decision. So today I'm going to present a lot of what we've done with Trust Decisions, how we feel the whole data science scenario is changing, and what we can do about it. So firstly, I want you to take a quick look at this. Every one of us will say, hey, we've been doing decisions for a long, long time. I remember the first stage that I put on stage is expert experience. More than 30 years ago, when I worked at Royal Bank of Canada, heading their technology planning and development department, actually, I started work on inference engines that can allow us to do what the experts do at the branches, and started to do a lot of that. But that's 30 years ago, and we have been doing that. We are really trying to imitate what experts will do in certain scenarios, and we have been doing that in the last 30 years. And around 7 to 8 years ago, the explosion of data science, people begin to use a lot more rule strategies and algorithms. We build a lot of models around to do better than normal experts. We are exposed to more data so that at any single point in time, we can do more inference at the same time. And then we actually have the speed of computation is a lot faster and so on. So that's really changing the area of decision. And a lot of what we see day to day around finances, all the real-time decisions that we do is around these rules strategies and algorithm-based. One big problem that we see, though, is as we evolve, we find that in the past we are dealing with like some data, and as like time goes by, we have more and more data. Like some of these data are not like really that readily available anymore, like with a lot of jurisdictions, GDPRs, and so on and so forth. In the past, we have data scientists work on a lot of these data in clear text, and now we couldn't. We have to respect the privacies, and then we need to do a lot of things. So the next generations of decision science is going to be based on privacy-based knowledge collaboration. And then, like, it is an area pretty difficult to like explain, but I would say it is an intersection between big data, cryptography, and AI. And a very simple example, like, is in the past, we actually do a lot of inquiries. A bank want to inquire on some data, want some answer back. They will put in inquiry and they get the answers. The big problem is like there's a lot of raw data exchange, and then also, you have to build samples in order to come up with the right models. That way, you actually leave some trace when you're doing the inquiring as well. And then the new way of data science, we're going to do federated model where the algorithm or related gradients are going to be exchanging rather than the data. Data never really leave the organizations, and there's no trace like to be left. So that's like really what we see is happening, and I just want to put up a few examples of what we've done. Like people, for example, we could see a lot of JV banks these days. Like one of the owner might be a bank, and then another owner might be one of these super app vendor or like these huge IT giants. These two banks, so the parents bank and this like JV bank, they cannot exchange any information about the knowledge of the customers. But with like these new ways of doing data science, we can start to do that. And also, like we just completed a project between a bank and an insurance company in China. And basically, they can make use of a lot more information to do bank insurance, and like they managed to sell a lot more very with very clear direction of who they want to sell to, who's going to buy what, and so on. So I think these are things that is not readily available in the past. And then like the last one in red that I put is really, I think in the long run, I want to see more cross-border customer knowledge can be like exchanged. Right now in ASEAN, in a lot of the emerging markets, we have a lot of countries, but if a customer hop around countries, even if they are banking with the same bank, they're being viewed as different customers because this customer knowledge cannot be exchanged. But I think the new data science can solve these problems. Okay, well, like before I move on to talk about trust decision, I want to share a little bit about like my dream. I think in the past, human civilization really advanced by like information arbitrage. I know more than you do. I know how to do this. You don't know how to do this, so I get better. And then later on, you try to compete and you try to like advance. So in the last few thousand years, we as civilizations, we really advanced by like not sharing data, but I hide data from you. I know more than you do. But like with this new norm that we are developing right now, I think like information can be shared, knowledge can be shared, and then we will get better. I think during COVID, we see like we're sharing a lot more knowledge, and then as we advance, I think we will be like advancing as a civilization much faster if we share knowledge. So that's my dream. So much about like, well, what we can do in the next generation data science, and then think back and looking at the market that we see every day. Well, we look at the emerging markets in Southeast Asia, in Middle East, as well as in Africa. Like we see a lot of growth, and these growth are driven by like basically the population curve that we see, all the demographic stuff, advantage that we see around these different countries. And then from an e-commerce perspective, from a finance perspective, fintech perspective, they are growing. And two things that's happening in that additional to populations is really speeding it up as well. Because of cost, as well as because of politics, I think the supply chains is shifting around very rapidly. I would say like ASEAN is actually a very big part of the beneficiary. And because of that, we actually see a lot of movements and then a lot of creation of wealth in these like new supply chains, origination places. As well as the COVID is like really making a lot of our traditional customers really come online. But all these things happening, that's good. There's a lot of positives. But as we move on, we find out that a lot of these people rushed into this like new world, like doing a lot more online business, and then like require more financial inclusions and so on. Most places that we went to actually have inadequate credit infrastructure. And well, if you go to multiple countries, the business compliances and the regulator compliances actually is very complicated. And also, as you move to online, before you do online business, you need to know how am I going to fight off those online frauds. That's like really taking a lot of people by surprise. So with that, what we find out is most people would need to at least counter these three types of fraud. Credits, like as we do, as well as fraud, as well as compliance risk. On the side of credit, we find out that, especially in the emerging market, with the huge amount of non-bank people that we see, we actually need a lot of evaluation of alternative data. And then we actually do a lot of alternative data modeling, as well as creating our alternative scores. For example, I know some of you are from Indonesia. We are one of the licensed like ICS operator, like from OJK, doing a lot of that for all the large banks like BRI, Bank Mandiri, and a lot more. And then on the fraud side, we actually help a lot of organizations. For example, some of the digital bank, they have speak yesterday as well, and then some of the payment companies around cross-border frauds. So we have done a lot of that as well. And then from a compliance perspective, we actually help to do a lot more on, for example, anti-money laundering and all the related stuff around anti-bribery, anti-corruptions. And then there's a lot more around compliances that we see. Well, all of this all need to be solved. And then we have a very common base of solutions for that. Together with Huawei, actually, we put some of these things on the cloud. And every day, people are going to use their decision API to inquire about credit risk, fraud risk, and compliance risk. And then we solve this problem by passing this into our decision-making platform. And then, this decision platform have a lot of interesting components. The next slides, we're going to talk more about it. Really, together with this, everything is on cloud, and then it's very easy for us to do the feedback. We're doing it with a lot of the bank and different type of financial institutions worldwide right now. One very important thing at the bottom is we need to have the feedback. So with the feedback, we're going to fine-tune our models and make ourselves better. So that's what we do in Trust Decision. So as I mentioned, the overall decision engine actually have a lot of things inside. We have the business services, well, the anti-fraud, the credit score, the anti-money laundering, and so on. And then in the middle, we also have all the different, what we call risk feature databases. So we need to do a lot of things such as the graph analysis and so on. So some of these, we use the Huawei component that's very naturally provided for us. We also provide things such as model management. So you have a lot of algorithms and models that we create, how you're going to manage different versions of it and so on. So, and underneath, we're using the big data platform and all the things that we've talked about in the last two speakers. We can make use of a lot of the good infrastructure around. That's very important as well. So together, using these on anti-fraud and credit score, we actually see much better performance. And then, as well, besides the speed, we actually help us really reducing a lot of the cost as well. That's very important for us, and thanks to Huawei. So, well, this new brand that we are creating, we actually are serving about 300 customers worldwide. Such as the top banks in Asia, the top consumer finance company in Europe, digital banks in Asia, as well as a lot of other e-commerce super apps and payment organizations and so on. So like we do like some of that and help large conglomerates in Asia to structure what they're going to do around finances as well. So these are what we do like within Trust Decision. So all in all, I'm quickly going to say, hey, with everything that we've done, we easily do models better than other people because we know what alternative data can do. So we're doing that and helping a lot of organizations like around the globe to better make use of alternative data on their credit scoring. And then we use like a lot of what we have to prevent these banks, for example, a large digital bank in Singapore, 100% SaaS, and then like it's running on Huawei and ourselves. And then we help them to prevent all these frauds on accounts, for all these frauds on transactions and identities and so on. And then like on the compliance side, like we really like would use a lot of algorithms to help them as well. So these are some of the examples. So beside that, like how do we achieve that? Really is by having very good like security framework and algorithm framework on the endpoints inside your phone, as well as like in the cloud. So some of these algorithms are in the cloud. Combine them together, we actually create very innovative things that I've discussed. And then all this is like made available by very, very good partners. And Huawei is definitely one of our like biggest partners. And besides that, we also like work with other people, such as like Shopline, Shopify, and all these people. So all in all, we started a Trust Decision journey in 2018. We just rebranded, and then like we have gone through a lot of different evolutions. And lately, I think yesterday, it's mentioned about some of our success we have in like Abu Dhabi together with Huawei as well. And because of that, like I just created an entity out of Abu Dhabi just 2 months ago as well. So this is like, I think everything that we have achieved, and then I really like to thank Huawei for a very good journey together as partners. So to conclude, basically, in our dream, we think there's a lot of things that's really confined within the border, like knowledge perspective. And we can actually do creations of things that's breaking these borders. For example, my dream of a Pan-Asia credit score, if we can do that, okay, with the new type of technologies, with what we can do together, like that's very interesting. We can even create global scores around because people move around so quickly. In the past, it's not possible, but right now it's getting easier and easier with technologies. Today, I just want to give you some preview of what we've done and what we are doing. I think like 15 minutes is not a lot, and if you allow me, I probably can stand and talk a few hours. But I think I have 10 seconds left, so I have timed myself correctly. And I would like to thank everybody for listening to me. And if you have any questions, feel free to talk to me. Thanks.
We do wish we could hear from you more, Mr. Ma. Thank you so much for sharing your thoughts. Up next, we will be hearing all about business-level AI ops, solutions for the financial industry. It is my pleasure to introduce co-founder and chief product officer of Netis, Mr. Wizard He. Mr. He, please.
Hi, ladies and gentlemen. Hello. Hello, world. Yeah. So yesterday, the CIO of DBS, Jimmy, just stand here to introduce the digital transformation journey of DBS, which is called Gandalf. So I'm the wizard, you know. So I'm here to introduce how we can assure the digital transformation and assure the journey of DBS. All right. So today's my topic is business-level AI ops that I want to introduce to you. So firstly, let me briefly introduce Netis. So Netis is a company. We mainly focus on the business analysis, performance analysis, and the AI ops. We have focused on this industry for more than 2 decades. Our headquarters is in Shanghai, China, and our overseas headquarters is in Singapore. It's in the Suntec Tower 2, not so far from here, to cover the business worldwide. And the solution I introduced to you is pretty unique. Because we leverage by the very unique technology, we gather all the information from the network, we analyze them, then we can tell you, okay, how about the performance of your whole business, about your user experience? And if there's something wrong, I can tell you how much the business has been impacted. So this one is very unique. So Gartner recognized NetEase is the co-vendor of year 2017. And Gartner also recognized NetEase is the global co-vendor of the AI Ops and the AI Startup from year 2017 to 2021. All right, so we are very close with Huawei. NetEase is the board member of Huawei Financial Partner Go Global Program, and we are also the global outstanding partner of Huawei for many years. The solution I introduce you today has been widely used, especially for the financial service customers worldwide. More than 200 banks, they choose the solution to analyze their infrastructure used. So when we come here, I think some of the gentlemen, they fly from about 30 hours from Brazil to Singapore. It's a long journey. Just like the digital transformation, it's a long journey. And when you come here, I think you are the hero. Why? Because you think your IT infrastructure, your business applications, they are very stable. I'll give you an example. The Paul just said, from the BDO, just said that even the Microsoft company, their infrastructure is not so stable. If you open Twitter to search Microsoft Teams this morning has been crashed for 1 hour. So we all leverage the benefit of the digital transformation. When I go to Singapore, I don't use cash. I use the payment card, right? I use the mobile. I can do lots of things. But we need a very strong IT team to support us to do it. But actually, the reality is our IT environment is getting more and more complex. I'll give you a story. One of the largest commercial banks in China, they use the mainframe for their core banking. And then now they migrate their mainframe to open platform. They use OpenShift containers and microservices. Usually, their mainframe manager only needs to manage one mainframe. But now, he needs to manage more than 10,000 microservices, which are across the whole infrastructure, which is very difficult for them to do it. The business needs agility, but the regulatory authority needs stability, right? So it's quite different. And the business needs outcome, but IT has got lots of invest tons of the money into the infrastructure. How to align with it? And we invest so many talent engineers into development. Why? Because when we develop new applications, the new application, they have got the outcome. But I give you a number. One of the largest commercial banks, they have got about 200 operation engineers a decade ago. They also have got 200 developers a decade ago. But now, they have got more than 10,000 developers. But they only have got 300 operation engineers. So that's quite different, right? So quite different. The applications are getting more and more. The application speed is getting faster and faster. The operation challenge is getting higher and higher. But manpower is limited. It's limited. I found so many talent engineers, they consuming lots of time. For what? For troubleshooting. The troubleshooting mechanism hasn't been optimized, just like the old ways. We need to log into the different servers to see the different metrics. Each of the team, they say different languages. That's very interesting. For example, the network team, they will say, okay, my 3-tier works perfectly well. The application team will say, okay, my 3-tier works perfectly well. When they're talking about the 3 tiers, the network team is talking about access, aggregation, the core, and the application team is talking about the web application and the database. So their language is not the same. So we need to solve that problem. Just like Gartner said, there's no future if we don't leverage the AI ops to help us to do it. So this is how we do. IT changed a lot, right? IT changed a lot. The change is the only thing. It doesn't change, right? So we go back to the first principle, which is see what kind of things hasn't been changed for quite a long time. We searched everywhere. We found one thing. This is the network protocol. So the TCP/IP has been invented at year 1983, 4 decades, right? The TCP/IP hasn't been changed a lot. The payload, the protocol has been changed. So we are thinking whether if we can understand all the protocols between the applications, whether we can solve all the problems. So we invest lots of money, we invest lots of time, we work with the talent customers to figure out. The answer is yes. For example, as you can see, it's a very typical process. During the pandemic, if we want to get some money, we can use the online loan. We have got the activity page. We have got the access credit. We can input several information. We do the verification. This is a business process. Under it, it's a system process. We leverage by the multi-vendor clouds. We go to the data center. This is the IT infrastructure. And under it, it's lots of the devices, right? So when we collect the network traffic from the network, leveraged by only one feature, all vendors, they can provide to you, which is span. Okay, the span is simplified just like copy the traffic to a specific port, and this port is used for analytics. When we understand about the 2,400 different protocols, we can give you the result. And this solution can benefit to lots of the departments. We don't fight, we want to collaboration. This solution can be used for the network team, of course. We can identify, all right, whether this is a third-party problem or the data center problem, whether this is a branch problem or our data center problem. Who has got the problem? And the network is getting more and more complex, whether it's the overlay problem or the underlay problem. So this is for the network team. It's a very good tool to do the troubleshooting in a very short time. And the leverage by this technology, this can only be used for the database team. The database now migrate Oracle to MariaDB, right? The top bank in Singapore, they migrate Oracle to MariaDB. How about the performance, right? How to analyze the performance of a MariaDB? Open the logs will consume the data, consume the resources. It's just like a paradox, right? I want to analyze the performance of the database, but when I open the log will consume the resources. How about the performance? We need to think about it in another way. This is leveraged by the packets captured from the network, so we can benefit for the DBA. And application team, of course. Usually, we use lots of log-based analysis tools. We use agent-based analysis tools, but we use different way. We use network packets. This one is perfectly safe because we don't consume any resources of your application, of your system. Purely safe. Think about this one. It's a bypass one. It's a passive one. Purely security, right? And we can provide you extremely high performance. For example, one of the top banking in Singapore, we deployed the 100G probes to analyze the whole infrastructure. Now they have got the 2,280G GPS process capacity to analyze them more. And generally, there was one scenario. They want to analyze about 100 specific flows in tons of the data. I give you a number. The data will be 17 billion sessions every 10 minutes. It's so hard, but we solved that. We want to give you the result. So this is how we can leverage for the technology for the application team. And finally, the business user, the line of business, they also can leverage this one. Just like Jimmy mentioned yesterday, they want to give the customer the best user experience, right? We can give them the best user experience by measuring the user experience first, every single step. Shall we measure the user experience when the customer goes through the firewall, goes through the load balancers? Of course, because it's one of the key components in the network, right? We cannot miss them. So this is how we do. I give you a very simple video to describe it. Oh, sorry, where's my video? So before Netis and after Netis, we are totally different. So this one on this side is a typical troubleshooting process. It consumes lots of talent people time, and this time is limited, right? We deserve a better life. So we let the machine to do it. The first one, you see the real-time alert. The second one, we were intelligent to locate where the problem is. The third one, you find the root cause. The fourth one, recover, and then you read the report. Generally, when I work with some large banks, actually I take about 3 or 4 weeks to write the report. It definitely consumes time. Why? Why we don't let the machine to help us to do it, right? So this is how we do. We just want a simple life. Okay. So I give you several examples. So this is one of the largest banks of the world. They have got 3 data centers. They want to build more. Each of the data center, they have got more than 100,000 PC servers. So you can imagine. The talent people, they are unlimited, but the scope is getting larger and larger. How they can analyze them? They need to collaborate. They have got the infra team. They have got the application team. Where's something wrong? The CIO will ask, how about our user experience? How about the business impact? How we can answer these questions? We need data. We need data. So they deploy our solution all over their data center, just like the top bank in Singapore. And then they analyze them into different layers. They analyze the network layer to give the answer to the infra team. They analyze them into a database layer, the mainframe layer, application layer, to give the answer to the others. And they talk the same language to solve the common problems. And this year, they even build a service. It's a self-service from their data center. All the people, they can log in the portal to do the self-service, get the result you want. It's collaboration. So this is the Bank C. And another bank I want to introduce the case is Bank of Beijing. It's also one of the largest banks in China. They have got multiple data centers. They have got multiple vendors. So the capability, we work with Huawei very closely to give them is the business level AI ops. So think about it, one scenario. If you are the CIO, you are the boss. Okay, you see the whole picture of the banking services, the private banking, the mobile banking, the payment. When there's something wrong, I tell you, okay, the specific application, they have got something wrong. We directly pinpoint this one and give you the red, it's blinking. Okay, when you know this one, what do? Just call Huawei Fabric Insight. Okay, if you have got a purely Huawei environment, you will have got one insight, which is just like a Google map. The Google map will tell you, okay, this is a network path. Which one has got a conjunction? And this conjunction will turn to red. Very easy to identify. And finally, it will tell you, okay, what's wrong with it? For example, the traffic is getting higher and higher to consume the 10G port. So you need to split the traffic to another port. So this is how we do for the customer. Leveraging by the technology that we are facing to, solving tons of the data to search and give you the answer in a short minute. It's not so easy. It's not so easy. But we are a tech company. We want to solve the problems. So we leave the simplicity to you, just like you. You leave the simplicity to your customer and give the complexity to ourselves. So this solution we build with Huawei together. We can analyze not only the on-premises, we can also analyze the public cloud. The Huawei cloud, non-Huawei cloud, we can support. Okay? In the on-premises data center, Huawei environment, non-Huawei environment, we can support. But with the leverage by the Huawei technology they provide to us, we can deep dive into the device layer. So this one, for the worldwide banking, we want to help you. We want to help you and work together closely to give your customers the best experience, less business impact. Okay, so thank you for having me here.
Thank you so much, Mr. He, for that impactful presentation. Thank you. And now to share with us his presentation on making new realities possible with intelligent banking, it is my absolute pleasure to welcome onto the stage Associate Vice President of IDC Financial Insights, Mr. Michael Araneta. Mr. Araneta, please.
Well, a pleasant day to everyone. I'm very privileged to also speak to you about a new research initiative that we are launching today, especially something that is very relevant to this crowd. There have been a lot of conversations around this years-long journey for digital transformation that is based on data and intelligence. My role this morning will be to contextualize this great move towards being data-driven among financial services institutions across the world. We call this the Global Intelligent Banking Evaluation Model, where we look at the performance of financial services institutions in regard to data excellence and making sure that we become more data-driven in the years to come. And I'd like to acknowledge the support of Huawei in coming up with this particular research initiative, and of course, the great team that we have at IDC Financial Insights to really get a sense of where the best global financial services institutions are in this data journey. In this 15 minutes that I will have with you today, I will talk about the new ways of banking that we are observing at IDC Financial Insights. I also talk about what I have been mentioning as the Global Intelligent Banking Evaluation Model. That's a very interesting structure and framework for how exactly we're assessing different regions and different markets and different financial services institutions in their successes in data. And then finally, I'll talk about the solutions that we are expecting to be very popular. These are the 40 solutions that I think you will need to evaluate, especially as you continue on this data transformation journey. I'd like to talk about the 8 megatrends that we are seeing for 2022. These are the new realities that we are facing. And obviously, in this short time that I have with you today, I will only be talking about some of them. But let me just mention this exponential surge in digital payments. And previous speakers have already talked about how more and more of our transactions, our payment interactions, our engagement with customers have really moved towards this digital alternatives. DBS, in their transformation journey yesterday, talked about their search in terms of digital payments, but also digital transactions, to the point that DBS, perhaps the quintessential digital bank of our times, already has defined what is a digital customer. And according to their annual report, and I'm quoting directly, a digital customer defined by DBS would be those that would be transacting more than 75% of their total transactions, whether it's financial transactions or non-financial transactions, over 12 months rolling period. That's a huge number that we also are seeing in many other institutions as well, to the point that we think that more than 50% of financial services institutions, including insurance companies, by the way, are already breaching that 75 benchmark stated by DBS. We're also looking at digital lending as a very big phenomenon that we are seeing. And this is not just about starting relationships and having onboarding that is digital, but it's also digital from the collection strategy, the credit decisioning strategy, the use of alternative data to make good credit decisions. We're also looking at customer demanding emotive experiences. And this is a unique phenomenon that we are expecting, because traditionally, we've always been looking at the transactions that are coming to us into our internal applications and internal systems. But for the first time, perhaps, we are using a lot of this alternative data, new types of data that would look at intent, the context of the customer, the mood, and the sentiment of the customer. These are obviously unstructured data that would allow us to not only understand the customer better, but also serve them better. And then as we look at the up cycle and down cycles of our economy, let's look at this refocus on risk. And perhaps if there's a theme in banking that will be very resonant, very relevant in 2023, it is this return of risk. And I've been with IDC for the past 17 years. I've been looking at these up cycles and down cycles of the markets. And I can tell you that in the years to come, there will be a recognition that risk management is really core to our business. That will be informed by all these new types of data that we are using, but also a lot of predictive capabilities that I think have been already talked about over the past 2 days. So very interesting scenarios that we are facing, and this allows us to really talk about how our journey towards digital transformation is never ending. It has been perhaps 5 years, perhaps 6 years since the start of the digital transformation initiatives of our organizations. The good news is that we are not close to the end of digital transformation. In fact, at IDC, as we look at IT spending, we're looking at a $1.8 trillion investments for this year alone for anything related to digital transformation, 17.6% growth over last year. Where is that spending happening? And IDC has been very good at all these projections for all the IT spending categories that will be hot or not hot on a particular year. This is where you will be spending. AI will receive 24.10% growth. That is a very, very compelling number. And also in the Southeast Asian region, we discovered that the Southeast Asian financial services institutions, the likes of BDO, who spoke earlier, K-Bank was speaking about yesterday as well, their investments in AI will exceed that 24.10 average. Big data and analytics also comprising a major category of spending that we have. Public cloud will also receive a lot of attention at greater than 20%, and then IoT will find its specific use cases in financial services. Our work in digital transformation will continue. And so one of the things that we wanted to discover as Financial Insights looks at all the future of financial services, we want to discover how exactly are we going to differentiate. And we are conducting all these interviews and conversations with different C-level executives. Some of the CIOs are close friends and regular contacts of ours to give us and inform us of the directions of their respective institutions. They always tell us that they will use data as the differentiator. In fact, 90% of the time probably we'd hear about how data is going to drive them moving forward. Data will be their competitive advantage. And so that is a key existential question for many of our organizations as well. If we use data, if more and more of us are using data to distinguish ourselves from the others, what really is the point of differentiation? That is the reason why we launched this study to determine how exactly financial services institutions and the regions that they operate are going to differentiate in the terms of data. This is what we call IDC's Global Intelligent Banking Evaluation Model in cooperation with Huawei. There is a structure and a framework that we have created out of this endeavor. There are 6 components of this evaluation model, starting from resilient leadership and strategy. That means encouraging this culture of data-based decision-making. Innovative business model, everyone's talking about banking as a service. I think fresh out of the open banking resurgence that we are seeing, when you think about it, this allows us, this innovative business model, to allow the sharing of functionality, applications, and data to third parties so that we can create new streams of revenue. And then we're looking at strong data-driven culture, a revamp of technology infrastructure, especially investments into the big 4 categories that I earlier talked about, the re-engineering of business processes, especially around that of the high-impact business process of origination, and then finally the optimization of a hybrid workforce that we are expecting. We go deep into this structure and this framework as we identify 18 sub-dimensions of this framework, ranging from resilient leadership and strategy and how this contributes to the creation of culture of data usage. Data virtualization is a very strong component there, but most importantly, the monetization of the data resources that we have as an institution. We're also looking at innovative business models, the ability of these regions, these markets to support the creation of banking as a service, open banking, the sharing of revenue with this growing network of third parties that we have. That's also part of our model. Strong data-driven culture is what we're also looking at, especially in making sure that we ensure the protection of data privacy of our customers. We have to maintain the trust given to us by our customers. That is the premise of how financial services institutions are good only if they manage the consent and the trust given to them by their customers. The revamp of technology infrastructure, looking at all these investments and making sure that we track the ROI, the total cost of ownership for these investments, re-engineering of business processes, and the optimization of the hybrid workforce. JPMC, for example, has already talked about how close to 50% of their workforce will probably be on a hybrid model in the years to come. That is a benchmark that we're also looking at as we assess how exactly we are going to be data-driven, because as we look at this hybrid workforce, they need to have access to the applications that contain the data, the insights out of those data, regardless of where they are based. And so as we use this framework to assess different regions and how they perform better over others, we know that there are regions that are standing out across the 6 frameworks. So together, their scores are presented here. I can go very deep into all these regions and different markets and different institutions. We mention North America featuring very heavily into this framework, followed by the China region, and then some of the regions have their very specific strengths and weaknesses as well. But in this framework, we also acknowledge the work of different institutions, especially as they look at how they monetize their data. And in our white paper that we are launching today, we have references for the work of the likes of M-Pesa, Bank of America, People's United Bank, China Construction Bank, M-Pesa, BBVA, and of course, DBS and China Construction Bank, featuring very well in this particular report of ours. If you're looking at case studies and references for how exactly specific financial services institutions are succeeding, look out for this white paper that we are launching today, because we can go deep into the scores as well as the strengths and relative to the weaknesses of others in these 6 key dimensions of our framework. So it has been a very interesting journey, but it has also been interesting from the perspective of understanding what these best financial services institutions are doing right. They are succeeding thanks to how they play for the long haul and think about the integration of these new capabilities for any possible future that might come. We're also looking at the promotion of these several institutions for this creation of new and innovative business models. We're also looking at building on the fundamentals of data quality, consent, data privacy, and a strong data governance framework overall. The use of intelligent core, we're not talking necessarily about core banking systems, but an intelligent core that captures enterprise-wide all these data, all these insights and actions that we are using to expand customer relationships, to continually simplifying and optimizing business processes and creating an agile, collaborative, and hybrid workforce. These are sometimes motherhood best practices, but the point here is that more and more of our institutions, especially this top 10% that we are talking about in this report, are clearly making sure that they meet the realities of our time through these best practices. As I conclude, I'd give you a picture of what we expect in 2023. And at IDC, we are in a position of privilege because we hear from these specific financial services institutions about their strategies moving forward. These are the 40 solutions that will become part of our strategic direction moving forward. It contains everything from infrastructure-related capabilities, especially around that of distributed infrastructure. It also contains all these channel engagement investments that we will be making. But look at that. On top of that is sustainability. We were privileged to see to have a look of how UOB is defining this. Sustainability, I can validate the statement of UOB earlier on, saying that this digital transformation technologies will collide and perhaps converge with a new phenomenon that we are expecting to be very important for financial services institutions, ESG in general, sustainability in specific. It has been a very interesting initiative for us at IDC Financial Insights to come up with this global intelligent banking intelligence and evaluation model. And I look forward to more partnerships with Huawei as we discover where exactly we are succeeding. But for now, we are succeeding in making sure that we become intelligent banks. Thank you very much for your time.
Thank you, Mr. Araneta. Please remain on stage as I invite back on stage the Vice President, Global Digital Finance Team of Huawei, Dr. Margaret Hu, for the joint release of Making New Realities Possible with Intelligent Banking white paper between Huawei and IDC. Hey, Dr. Hu, Mr. Araneta, on my count from 3, you will use your hand to press the orb just behind you on the LED screen. Dr. Hu, you can use your right hand. Mr. Araneta, you can use your left hand for picture's sake. All right? Are we ready? In 3, 2, 1. There we go. And with that, ladies and gentlemen, we present to you the Financial Digital Infrastructure White Paper. Please gather together for a group photo. To learn more about the white paper, do take some time to visit our exhibition and our consultants just outside in the foyer when you do have a moment. Thank you, Mr. Araneta. Dr. Hu, you may now return to your seats. Thank you. And last but not least, to end off today's keynote session, we have a panel discussion that will explore and provide insights on the digital transformation process, future plan, and approach. Please join me to welcome on stage, as I introduce them as we set up this panel, our moderator, Chief Digital Transformation Officer of the Huawei Financial Team, Mr. Chen Kun-tae, and his panel speakers, Chief Sustainability Officer of UOB, Mr. Eric Lim, Chief Technology Officer of BDO, Mr. Paul C., Chief Digital Banking Officer of SCB, Dr. Chale Asavara-Tiratham, and finally, Chief Technology Officer, Data Center Business of Huawei, Mr. Sanjay Seinani. I think we're about ready, gentlemen. Please make your way onto the stage. And I'd like to invite our moderator and panelists, please. Mr. Chen, take it away.
Okay, thank you very much. I'm sorry, usually I take the last session. It's a panel. Today, a little bit of surprise. We still have so many audience. I really appreciate it. Every time I asking our company to prepare some red packet, using this kind of last program, right? So today we are very lucky. We invite four guests to come up, and we're talking about digital transformation and digital world, and also talking about sustainability, social. So first of all, I think we a little bit introduce ourselves. And first, it's me, right? Katie Chen from Huawei head office. I used to working in banking industry more than 30, 40 years. So I'm a banker. My last job is Chief Information Officer of China Merchants Bank, and so I host this, I facilitate this panel. Basically, I will let most of our guests were talking, and we try to make this panel as fun as possible. Okay. Come to you, Eric.
Yeah, quick introduction, Eric Lim. I'm the Chief Sustainability Officer for UOB. I also run the group finance function for the bank as well. I've been with the bank for 9 years.
Thank you, Eric. Good afternoon. My name is Paul C., Chief Technology Officer for BDO. I've been with the bank for the past 3 years. Previously, I was with JP Morgan, with Citi, and with Macquarie, looking after infrastructure and technology. Charlie?
Thank you. I'm Charlie from Siam Commercial Bank, SCB in Thailand. I am in charge of the digital retail business of the bank. And prior to this job, I worked for many years on Wall Street, doing quant trading, high-frequency trading, algo trading. And even prior to that, I was an engineer and a consultant with McKinsey. And looking forward to a fruitful session today. Thank you.
Hello, everyone. I'm Sanjay Seinani. I'm the Global Head of Business Development and CEO at Huawei for Digital Power, and have been in the mission-critical industry, building mission-critical space for the past 3 decades, and in the last 2, more specifically, data centers across global markets. Good to be here.
Yes. I think today, in today's section, first of all, I want to address the digital world, right? And then, sustainability, especially after pandemic, it become very, very, important topic, important themes, for the whole society and economy. So what I want to address is everything is measurable, under the digital era. Once you can measure, that means you can optimize, you can improve all the times. That's the typical things of digital. So, several years ago when we were talking about the green, social and, environmental, it's really hard to down to ground to implement, right? But today it seems it is possible. So I think first of all, when any financial institution going through the digital transformation, get into most of the bank is on the way of transform and in different stages. So my question is like for UOB or BDO or SCB. You can go through, the sequence talking about that, what you learn from, in the past, pandemic and digital acceleration, and, from, business point of view, from digital business point of view, from technology, and from energy's point of view, what, lesson you take, what sort of experience probably you can share with the audience here, and what are you looking for the future, okay? Eric, you go first.
Yeah, maybe I can start. I think the pandemic definitely changed consumer behavior in a very critical way. One of the things we were dealing with was how do we bring as many of our customers as possible onto a full of as digital as possible interaction model or engagement model, right? And, pre-pandemic, there was still a lot of people like to come into a branch, stare at a banker in their eyes, make sure that the money is safe. But because the pandemic essentially forced the physical world to shut down, right? The only means of interaction, be it at work, be it, doing a banking, be it facing off with clients, went fully virtual and fully digital. And I think that before that happened, there was a big swath of customers, management, companies that believed it wouldn't work. But it worked. And not only did it worked extremely well. So I think one of the big trends that has significantly been accelerated and deeply now integrated into the psyche, right, of main society is digital. It can be accelerated, can be scaled, can be a very positive experience, right? And with that, this ability and willingness to then push more of your data into public institutions, the willingness to have that data be used for valuable insights back to either recommendations, servicing of clients, I think is one very big trend. The second thing, I think, and so that's on digital and customer behavior. Then on sustainability, I think there was also a big moment when the world realized when we shut off the economy for that year, our greenhouse gas emissions dropped only 7%, right? So basically, we caused wide-scale damage to the economy, and the greenhouse gases only came down by 7%. And I think what everybody then realized was simply saying no isn't going to solve the sustainability or climate issue. That what truly was required was a rethinking, reinvention, and transformation of how we live, work, play, grow food, transport, speak to each other, go to work, and go to school, right? So I think that second just transformative realization, I think that's why these two megatrends we talk about, digital and sustainability, I think the pandemic just really rammed home.
Yeah, right. So that means we have to deeply believe and put action to execute, right? Yeah, that's really important. And next turn to Paul.
Oh, thanks, Katie.
Yeah, you can talking about your, infrastructure because you just have a presentation on infrastructure, but you can share some of the, experience on other areas. Okay.
I think one of the things that we learned during the pandemic is really adaptability, right? I think the difference in the Philippines is how prevalent is digital versus cash. One of the things that we did pretty differently is, in fact, our CASA, our current account, savings account deposits came up significantly during the pandemic because we were one of the banks that were open.
Yeah.
We tried to keep a lot of our branches open during the pandemic. Because of that adaptability, we were able to increase our CASA balances by probably more than 10%. One of the things that I think we need to look at is the adaptability of the society. I think in the Philippines, a lot of the transactions is still very much cash-based. Yeah. Digital is catching up, but there's still a lot of hesitancy in the general population to adopt to a more digital economy. I think that's one. Second is really the availability, not only of the ability to pay digitally, but the merchants that will take digital payments. You need to build that infrastructure and ecosystem within society. The other thing that we did during the pandemic in order to really be adaptable is really take advantage of the situation during the pandemic and deploy a lot of the things, a lot of the changes, a lot of the sort of mindset shifts that we wanted to do. And we took advantage of the pandemic to really drive a lot of that, deploying collaboration tools, changing the way people work, changing the way we work as a bank. And adaptability has always been the keynote of our bank, right? In fact, our motto is we find ways. And that's why during the pandemic, we really tried to find ways to not only help ourselves, but really support our customers and make the bank grow.
Yeah, I think pandemic is, actually, it's never happened before, right? In all our area. Okay, so, yeah, and next is, I know Charlie first time. I personally lead private banking and wealth management for a while, so I personally like to invest as well. So the biggest news is BlackRock, lose AUM a lot on their news report. So I do the equity investment by myself all the times. So I'm looking on the market all the time. So Charlie, it's your turn. You're talking about the digital experience, right, of your consumer, redesign the digital journey of the customer. So probably you can share us some of your experience and what you did and what you lesson and how you're looking to the future. Yeah.
Sure. A few of you may know SCB, Siam Commercial Bank. It's an old bank, but one of the big things that we did during the pandemic was to reorganize into SCBX. And this is a radical change. Number one, it makes it cool suddenly because now we have exponent X next to our name. But more seriously, it basically shifts. We create a new mothership, as they call it, that has many subsidiaries. Among them is SCB Bank itself. This 115-year-old bank is now a subsidiary of a newly created company of SCBX. And then we also we spin off CardX, AutoX, and a few other DataX and so on. So it's a whole radical reorganization of the group. And then the questions that a lot of people ask is like, why do you want to do this? What is the ambition that you're hoping to fulfill? There are a couple of at least goals that we are hoping to achieve. It's still early in the game. Among them would be the flexibility. We hope that by breaking it down into different companies, we would have the ability to sort of go after whatever we are interested in without the burdens of the regulatory and the reporting that financial, like a bank, something like a bank would have to worry about. So speed, that's one. And then also in the process, we discover a couple of, I personally discover a couple of interesting new assets being created, very intangible asset that we haven't really thought we would get. Okay, the first, of course, is the transparency. So there used to be an IT department, a big one, inside the bank, does just everything related to IT data, servers, and computation, even data. But by separating out, okay, so we have now a company called TechX, among other things would be the amount of internal charging that we never have to do before. Now the transparency shows up. So now people are starting to realize, oh my God, this is a lot of, there's cost to be optimized here, and there's cost to be optimized here. So the transparency pops up. And soon after the transparency, a couple of things follow. Then you're realizing, oh wait, with transparency, now we got to economize. So I discovered yet another new asset. You may have heard of the word scarcity drives innovation. Yeah. So when people start tightening their budgets, then they were like, okay, now we got to be really creative about what we want to do. And just 2 days ago, I was really touched by this example. One of the subsidiaries said, we need to launch a commercial. So we hired this very famous country singer, okay? And then they said, but we cut down the cost of this advertisement by like a factor of 3. Oh, how did you do that? If you hire them to commission a song for us, then they charge you this much. But if you have the song rewritten and then go just let them sing the song, then it's only this much. I'm like, wow, that's the kind of optimization you never get before until you start having this transparency and the economizing. And then I realized, oh my God, that's good. Now we're coming up with all these creative ideas. So the journey is still long, but I feel encouraged and look forward to the kind of things that we can achieve from this.
So you're talking about your organization transformation, most likely, right? I think technology used to be very, very important in financial industry. So nobody wanted to touch it. When I was chief information officer, especially the president, if he or she cannot really understand the technology, usually they want to keep the system up and running, stable and reliable, right? So how to unlock the data, that sort of things. It's kind of funny to speed up, to be agile, right? So we come back to Sanjay, right? Because you're in an industry which I really don't really understand about that. But anyway, my personal experience is like we have mobile phone, right? In the early day of the mobile phone, actually we really don't know that how much power is charged. We have how much power is less, right? So right now everything is digital. So always you can find how much % of power you have in your mobile, right? So I believe it's just like EV. So now it's your turn talking about sustainability and digital and clean energy and how to do this. Okay.
COVID in many ways was an inflection point in terms of the confidence that consumers had in relying on digital technology. More so because they had no choice. And it was very obvious if you weren't on a digital platform, your business was shuttered. So that's one thing. Another very interesting data point I was sharing with some of the panelists earlier was last year about 340 odd megawatts of data center space came online in Europe. And for the first time in history, the occupancy rate was less than 7%. That means everything that came online got occupied. Currently, the digital infrastructure play is moving from data halls to data pods to campuses. We were talking about 1, 2, 3 megawatt 5 years ago, and I've been in the industry for 20 plus years building data centers. Now we talk casually about 100 megawatt campuses. So this is an explosive growth. And obviously, it's being fueled by so many elements, underlying elements that are driving this. On one hand, you have this serious growth. And then on the other hand, during Eric's session, we saw is the challenge of climate change. And the fact that governments, regulatory bodies, everyone, has accepted it because that was, that was a long fight. But now that we've accepted it, we now realize we don't have enough time. And so in some ways, it's almost juxtaposed. You know, you are trying to grow to move the digital platforms to be so pervasive across every aspect of life. On the other hand, they consume a lot of energy. Now, there is a misconception that IT consumes energy. IT actually has reduced the amount of energy that we need. It's just that we are doing much more, and therefore the quantum of energy has increased. But the energy consumed per bit in terms of driving the bit has drastically reduced. So if we are in the future, if we are going to look at metaverses and we want to create everything virtual, obviously we were going to consume energy for that. But then probably like Real Player One, the movie, you'll be sitting at home all the time. So that is really where we are right now. And I thought I will make this comment, but then when Eric put together his slide, I was like, okay, he stole my thunder here. We talk green. Green is only with regards to environmental health, economic benefit, social equity, are other main elements here, and the financial industry more so has a lot of responsibility and is playing that role in terms of inclusion so that every aspect of society is able to move in. So I guess I'll wait for my other turn. I don't want to try to keep going on, but clearly huge challenges, but then again there are many pathways. And that will, we believe technology will definitely help us, more so digital technology, will help us to achieve the very problem that we believe digital technology is causing. And this is where I see the industry moving.
Yeah, actually the banker is not, watch numbers. Sometimes we also have to provide, social responsibility. That's why, especially in the financial industry, I think the governance also very important. So when we're talking about ESGs, environment, social, and governance, because money comes from depositor, right, and banking using this money, or invest, or do the loan to the customer, or that sort of things. So I think we still have a little bit time, so we probably can have short period of conclusion for everybody. What do you want to say, or what do you want to see in the future, or maybe you have advice, and then we can let all of the audience. We can go to lunch. Anyway, Eric, you go first. Okay.
So I would say what we're always trying to do across our organizations and our different roles is we're trying to future sense and build our business models, our teams, our capabilities to be as resilient, meaningful, and value-added for the future, right? And so I think that in 2022, when you look across the various aspects of the ecosystem, everything's shifting very quickly on us, right? We know business models that used to take 20 years to go through the full innovation to death cycle now can complete that cycle between 3 to 5 years, right? We know digital banks are coming. We don't know if they're really going to win. Incumbent banks are responding in kind. We don't know if we're going to win, right? So there's a lot of uncertainty out there. And the one thing I would say is very important for all of us to focus on, that's how we think about it in UOB, is we then focus on the stakeholders, right? We take ourselves out of our own hit story and we go outside in. And when we look at the stakeholders, it's very important to then be broad. You're talking about your governments, your regulators, your investors, your corporate clients, your retail clients, and increasingly, public opinion at large. Because that increasingly can nail you and cause you great grief as well. Other stakeholders, cross-border parties that have an ability to influence your life in a domiciled country, even if they belong to another part of the world, right? I referenced just now things like the carbon border adjustment mechanisms. The EU has an ability to make your business model commercially win or lose any part of the world, right? And so I think taking a holistic stakeholder view, being able to throw our minds 5, 10, 15 years into the future as to where these stakeholders are heading, then doing the hard work of piecing it together to say, what does that mean for our business model, our distribution capabilities, our product bill, our whatever it may be, purpose or business strategy itself, is an important part of the work that I think management teams and leaders like us need to be able to do. Otherwise, what we're going to end up doing is being very, very busy, but we may miss the mega trends and the massive opportunities that come along with it.
Okay, Paul.
Yeah, no, I think one of the key things in this summit that I picked up on is really the environmental sustainability, right? I think more and more we should expect our clients to really look for environmental sustainability of the companies that they're using. I think more and more we'll see our clients demanding that. And I think we have the ability within technology to really help define what environmental sustainability will look like. I mean, you just look at what was happening this week with all the heat wave happening in Europe. I think it's inevitable that we need to really do something about it. I think more and more our clients will also see that and will expect that from the financial institutions that they are working with or using. And I think our role in technology, which I referred to before, was really how do we make that, how do we lessen our footprint, right? I think we need to really invest in new technologies that would really reduce our environmental impact. And how do we do that sustainably?
Okay. Charlie, you want to talk some? Not necessarily to be sustainability. I still pretty interested in the market, like in Thailand, how you view the digitalization of economy, infrastructure, and financial system.
The Thailand market has become a lot more digital thanks to the government scheme that pretty much subsidize your cost of living heavily during COVID. Okay. And that is probably the biggest driver of people, especially at the grassroots level, to digital. So I think we are just entering this massive influx of the people who previously were not. They were banked, but I think underbanked. So as a result, I think it's upon us, banks, financial institutions, and to really make use of this opportunity to bring a lot more people in. We try to do that too. I mean, we try to launch products like 2-click loans, loans that are instantly approved for at a higher rate and so on, just so that people would start to at least have one foot in the door into the financial system. So I think we're just about to enter a really interesting period, and another thing that I would like to note from this conference that I think is a really refreshing change. I have not heard the word crypto once, at least in the presentations. If this conference is held a year ago, I think it's probably going to be in a lot of the presentations. But this time around, I have not heard it. So it's just an observation. I'm not making a judgment on anything, but it's such an interesting to see that how things have changed so quickly, so rapidly. So
actually, I touch a little bit. Usually, because my personal also invest in crypto. How about you?
Yes, I am too. Unfortunately, yes.
Anyway, but to me, it's a long while, and we know that crypto industry using a lot of energy before, right? Especially if you come from China, you know the story it is, and then recently it's banned by China. But anyway, still have many, I believe. But Huawei is a big company. Usually we don't talk too much about such kind of things. But in financial industry, I deeply believe cryptocurrency bring up different kind of technology. It's a kind of impact to the financial industry, personal. Even I'm a chief information officer. We do invest people, building up the blockchain, and pretty study the stable coin because recently they have. Yeah, but it's interesting. Next time probably we can have talking about this. All right, Sanjay, it's your turn.
I guess it's very obvious that there is still, we've just started on the journey, and I think especially I would go back to sustainability. There's this low-hanging fruit, which is all about power consumption, entitlements, and reducing power. Either doing the same things in different ways, or improving efficiencies of almost everything that is in that area. And this, I believe, is a low-hanging fruit. Technically, this is operational carbon. One of the bigger challenges that we have, which we have to solve, is embodied carbon. Almost everything that is out there has carbon. I think someone had said this very nicely a few years ago when he was asked this question, that how can you get to zero carbon? Now, I know it's utopia, not possible, but the simplest answer is if you want zero carbon in the data center, you should have no data center. So whichever way you want to work that out. So that's the other area, embodied carbon. But there's another area, which is the circular economy in terms of recyclables. Can you replace concrete-based buildings with other alternate approaches, steel-based buildings, prefabricated buildings? So almost most of the financial industry is embarking on everything as a service. You're leveraging different technologies, investing millions of dollars in new infrastructure. This is a journey which will require many ecosystem partners, and definitely is a journey where digital technologies, sustainable technologies will come all together to reach those goals.
Thank you, Sanjay. I think it's the time is almost up. So today's panel, I think we talk a lot of stuff from the sustainability, social, and to digital transformation and technology, and also some experience about the Thai market, and also in Philippines. Personal to me, it's really fresh, and I learned some from Sanjay. Anyway, thank you for all the audience. I hope you gain something. Thank you very much.
Thank you, gentlemen, for that insightful discussion. Thank you so much. Please gather in the center for a group photo and give a big smile. And with that, ladies and gentlemen, we've come to the end of this morning's keynote session on shaping smarter, greener finance. To those who were tuning in virtually, thank you so much for your time, and we'll see you back here at 2 p.m. for our afternoon summit.